Welcome to the Old South Meeting House. Now, the original structure was built in 1669, but the structure that you see today was built in 1729. Now, the Old South is most famously known for its participation in the Boston Tea Party. When Samuel Adams was giving his fiery debate, they started it out at Faneuil Hall. However, the crowd size grew so large that they had to move it down to the Old South. And they estimate there might have been about 5,000 people that were gathered in and around the church to listen to Sam Adams talk. Now, once he was given the signal that no compromise was going to be made, that's when they marched. They left and said there was nothing more they could do there, and they marched down to the wharfs and they dumped 342 chests of tea into the harbor. They estimate today that might have been about $1.5 million worth of tea. Then shortly, as war breaks out, the Battle of Lexington and Concord, and the British soldiers that come into Boston and take over, they want to get rid of any signs of the Patriot cause. So they move into the Old South Church and they gut it. They burn up the wood and they turn it into a stable, and they do some practice jumping with their horses there. Now, after the war was over and the British had left town, it took the congregation nearly 8 years to restore the building. Then in 1872, it just very narrowly escaped the great fires of Boston. And in 1876, the congregation decides to build a new church. So they build their new church in the newly built Back Bay area, just adjacent to Copley Square. And it is called the New Old South Church today. So not to be confused with the Old South Church. So the Old South just very narrowly escaped demolition. It was going to be sold, and they first sold the building for $1,350 to a man who was just going to parcel it out for parts. But about 20 women came together and they raised some money, and they raised $3,500, and so they purchased it from him and they saved the building. But then they have the other problem of the land, because they were wanting $400,000 just for the land that it sat on. So we had some philanthropists that came through, a woman named Mary Hemingway, there was the abolitionist Wendell Phillips, and the authors Ralph Waldo Emerson and Julia Ward Howe donated some money. But they also had craft fairs and balls, and it might have been maybe the first bake sale, it's rumored to be. But anyway, another woman came forward, and her name was Mary Sawyer Tile. And she had 60 years earlier had written, Mary Had a Little Lamb. So she had 2 pair of stockings that came from the little lamb that she wrote about that followed her to school one day. So she unraveled the stockings and snipped them into little pieces and sold them. And that was another way they made some money to save the Old South. So Mary Had a Little Lamb saves the Old South. So anyway, so thank goodness the Old South is here for us today to enjoy. So if you get a chance to come here, there's a small donation to go inside, but it's well worth it. Now I'll see you on the next stop. Bye.